Our Hangout sessions continue now on Innovation for the Nation, our virtual summit here. Lots of activity out on the Twitter hashtag using IFTN13. One of the notes I saw, Nathan was saying, tell me these Hangouts are being recorded. Nathan and everyone else, I will tell you they're being recorded. So we'll be sending some emails and communications on how you can access, or in Nathan's case, can share with his staff after these are archived. So we'll definitely be reaching out to all of you for that. What are we doing for the next half hour here? Well, we're talking about modernizing land records search. This is a case study coming from Macomb County, Michigan. We've been in Mountain View, California already. We were up in Wyoming, and now we shift gears over to Michigan. Let me lay out a familiar, what I think is a familiar scenario for many of you. Might have homeowners that for some reason are looking for title information or deed documentation. They may try now to access that online. Oftentimes the stories I hear, kind of a cumbersome process, so they go sneaker network, right? They jump in their car, they drive down to the county buildings, the local courthouse, registrar's office, what have you. It's not an efficient process for many folks right now. Been a long and kind of difficult road to travel to try and make this something easier. You're going to hear in the next 25 minutes or so a success story about how this can be a much easier process for you, and hear how Macomb County worked with Google, worked with Xerox as well, to create this really cool landowner system that users can actually use and get good documentation that they're looking for. Joining us for the presentation, we've got Todd Schmitz from Macomb County, the Chief Deputy Clerk there, and really happy to have him on board. So what we're going to do, a couple slides. Todd, I've been telling people kind of format here. We've done some Q&A type events. This one, slide presentation from Todd to start. Then we're going to transition into a demo, so you're actually going to see how this system works, operates, how easy it is. And then, again, we'll keep it open to questions from all of you. Hashtag IFTN13. Todd Schmitz, welcome. Thank you for being here, sir.
Oh, thanks, Bert. This is James. Sorry about my machine there.
No worries.
And we set out to solve a very basic problem. We doing okay?
Yes, we are.
A very basic problem of how can a person get a copy of their real estate documents? And it's something that affects pretty much every homeowner at one time or another. We're located in Macomb County, Michigan, and it kind of boils down to how do we protect the American dream? And there are a couple of issues that we ran into, but we've discovered information equals property rights. If you've ever played the game of Monopoly, Boardwalk, Park Place, all those, the reason that that game works is because every player knows who owns what property, and everybody can then enforce their property rights. It's the same thing at Register of Deeds offices or county recorder's offices across the country. And in Macomb County, Michigan, our home sales have been up. We've had the 14th straight increase for the last year. Our population, just so people know, we're about 850,000 people. Michigan is located just outside of Detroit, so if this is your map of Michigan on your hand here, this is where we're located. But Macomb County Clerk, Register of Deeds, Carmela Sabal wanted to answer the question, how do we deal with the increase in recordings? How do we deal with the increased risk of fraud? 60 Minutes did a great expose a while ago. The link is on the web. We can make the link available as part of this presentation, where there were literally warehouses full of people signing false and fraudulent names on documents. Witnesses, notaries, all those are practically undetectable unless you can search page by page, one at a time, document by document. The reason is because county recorder's offices typically don't index on that type of thing. We typically don't index on a notary or a witness. So in order to protect people's property rights, how could we design a system that the average person can get their record, but how could we also do it in a way that makes it easier to detect and prevent fraud? We did this working with also our Register of Deeds, Craig Jones, and the challenges we had is in some cases the documents were online. And this is a good test for anybody watching the presentation. When we're done, go ahead and try downloading a copy of your own deed from your own particular area just to see whether that works as well as you think it should. The typical system, you can only search on indexed words. The index rules change over time. Believe it or not, in our county, Macomb County, wives' names were never indexed separately. In order to find a property owned by a wife, you had to actually search on her husband's name up until 1992. when Carmela Seba became the county clerk. But like many counties, business rules change over time. Business names are different. How do you do corporation, north, south, abbreviations, street names? All those things change, and it's hard to see the images and the related documents. We set out to design and do it a better way. And we decided we wanted to build the best system that we could, that the average homeowner could use, and we had turned to Xerox. Xerox Land Records through ACS does all of our vital records and Register of Deeds system. And Google, we use Google Apps for Government, had a great relationship, and it just seemed like a perfect fit to bring those two together. And the discerning eye in the audience will note that we only picked companies to work with if your name is a verb. So that's who we chose to work with. This is an example of what our super index screen looks like. And you can see how clean that is. Just a nice, straightforward interface, only one search bar. Typical land record systems, you have to decide what type of data you're searching for ahead of time, and that's difficult if you don't know. But we worked with Bert Auburn and Xerox and Mark Nix, our project director, to come up with this very clean user interface and make that nice. In addition to that, here's an example of the type of search that you can do. Just type in a name. You can type in just a property address, tax ID number. And when we do the demo shortly, we'll give you a little bit more information about how that would work. In addition to all of these documents, we have 7 million documents in there from 1818 to the present. We're also OCRing them using optical character recognition, which means we're scanning them and we're recognizing the text that we can, which makes it very easy and quick to search. It's not unusual that within 48 hours, 24 hours of a document hitting our counter, it's available and being searched for the public. And what this does in Register of Deeds circles is it reduces the gap they call, which is the blind spot that most Register of Deeds systems have. And that's been a very powerful tool and a very powerful fraud prevention tool. We get approximately 200,000 documents per year crossing our counter. That's approximately 750,000 pages in order to index and track and scan. And one of the things we were happy to discover is we're able to now raise revenue from phone calls while providing better service to our customers. You'll see during the demo there's an email link once you find your document you're looking for. It makes it very easy for our staff to answer a phone call, email the link to the customer, and then the customer then follows the link, uses their credit card information. So we've provided information, paid for the service, and it's much easier to us than processing paper. While paying for the service, we use Google Checkout. And Google Checkout is similar to a PayPal type service. The nice thing about it is it's integrated right in with our Super Index, our Google Search Appliance, and our Xerox Land Record system to make that smooth. And we can also tell who's hitting on our system and when. We know exactly how many clicks we're getting, what type of searches are being done, what type of documents are being looked for, what the sales are in real time. We don't have to deal with chargeback issues or credit cards or anything like that because we're using Google Analytics for it as well. It's been very well received in our county. People are just raving about how easy it is to use, to get their own information, to protect their own property rights. And so it's been very good. We've worked with Google Apps for Government, and so not only on this search issue, but we use it for our Gmail documents, tracking our security paper, because security is one of the reasons we switched to Google Apps for Government. And we also worked with Xerox for many years on their land record system. One of the key innovations with Xerox is they designed the system so that the revenue the system generates pays for itself, pays for the system. And so that's nice because it's what's making the system sustainable and make the system work. Let me pause for a moment, James, throw it back to you, get set up to do a demo, and then we can answer questions after that.
Absolutely. I think, folks, this is what's going to be really cool here is actually seeing this super index in play, how simple it is to use. Again, if you have questions, comments, CT and a few others on Twitter, I see that, hashtag IFTN13. Also, while we transition, get that demo set up, you've heard Todd mention that they had partnered with Xerox. Bert Auburn is the VP of Government Records with Xerox, and he has joined us for this hangout. He's also going to be part of a scheduled chat coming up right after this event. But Bert, wanted to kind of turn things over to you just for a couple moments, again, while we set up this demo. Talk about the partnership and what Todd and team are doing up there in Michigan.
Thanks, James. As you can tell, this is something that Xerox and Macomb County and Google are very excited about, and I think you'll really enjoy the demo coming up. A couple key takeaways that I wanted to communicate to the group out there. One is we talk about innovation. One of the most critical parts in many innovation projects is forging successful partnerships. And that's one thing that we've done very, very successfully here. Three main partners on this project. First, and probably most critical, is Macomb County. Their innovation and thought in saying, can we do things better? And they brought the expertise of what is the user community looking for? What is public looking for when they want to search records? What are the challenges that they're finding in the legacy systems? Macomb County also brings the knowledge of the employee base of the county clerk's office and what challenges they have in using traditional search tools in land records. We were the second part of the partnership here in Xerox, and we bring expertise in land records. Xerox, through several acquisitions, has been in the land records business for over 100 years. We have many counties that use our land record system. We understand the process of recording land, the challenges of recording land, and how that flows from the time that it was all done on book and paper to computerized now. And the last partner was Google, and Google clearly brought the expertise in searching records. And as we took all three of these expertise that each company brought, we formed a successful partnership that enabled us to create this super index. The second thing I wanted to take is, and you're going to see in the demo, that this is a great solution for land records, and it's very repeatable in county clerks or county recorders' offices across the country with minor modifications. But it's also repeatable in any type of records management application. The biggest challenge and biggest key in document management is being able to quickly and accurately search for the documents that you're looking for and retrieve them and use them. And what we've done with the super index is gone beyond the traditional methods of searching with an indexed metadata, but being able to use the Google search appliance, as you'll see, to search in multiple ways that allow you to find the records that you're looking for. So it's not just land records. It could be in the courts. It could be in your tax applications. Any place that's storing documents, we can find the application that works for this and implement it effectively. So I'm going to throw it back to Todd and watch along on this demo because I think it's just fantastic.
All right, thanks, Bert, and we'll check in with James too. We doing all right to proceed with the demo, James? Because this is where it gets fun.
We are. We probably have about 10 minutes on that. I've been jotting down some questions again, folks. Hashtag IFTN13. You're going to get tired of me saying that, but I want to remind you to submit your questions there. So yeah, Todd, let's dive right into that demo.
All right. And so if you can see the screen okay here, what I'm doing is a search on a gentleman's name named Christian Clemens. And Christian Clemens is the person who deeded his farm to the county in Macomb County. And you'll see I've just searched 7 million records, how quickly that came up. What we can do is we can see here's a piece of property here where there's a grantor by that same name, and all the way back down. We can hover over it to see if it's the right document. You can see over to the left side of the screen we have these delimiters, and this is where the real power of combining the Xerox land records technology with the Google search technology. Typically, let's say I want to find a copy of my deed. Well, you could type in your name and just click deed. Or you want to find a copy of your mortgage, or even better, proof that you paid off your mortgage. It's very easy to do that. In this case, I'm looking for Christian Clemens, the deed that he did when he granted his farm to the county. And so I'm just typing in 1818. So Christian Clemens, year 1818. And the first deed that comes up here is a deed. You can see the handwritten deed there in the system. You can see from our indexed information that this is October 2nd, 1818. Just another example of a very powerful search. In the land records area, typically we do things by LIBOR and page. LIBOR is book, of course, so everything gets a LIBOR number or a book number. And if we want to type in a LIBOR or page, you can just go straight jump to the one you're looking for. In this case, I did the very first book and the very first page that we have of the deed where Elizabeth and Christian Clemens granted their farm to the state of Michigan. But you can go even beyond that, and this is what we call our intuitive search. And this one is new in the land records area as well. You can type, if I'm looking for example, the grantee, Christian Clemens, and so what I want to find is the properties that he has received. So he could be doing a search himself if he were alive today, trying to get a copy of the documents he received. And you can type grantee Christian Clemens, and you can see after a 7 million record search over a couple centuries worth of documents, right there, the first one that pops up is the one that I typed for Christian Clemens' name. And so there's just all sorts of searches you can do in order to protect your property rights, get your records. You'll see down at the bottom here, these links here, how to use the super index, the terms. Just as a quick aside, all this is a Google Doc. And so we've linked this to Google Docs in order to provide instructions and how-tos and sample search screens. What that means is in order to edit this or update it, we don't have to install special web publishing software. We don't have to wait for a regular push of the web pages to go through. It's as easy as editing a Google Doc online, and then your changes are already integrated with this land record solution. And it can even go one better than that, just to get a little on some of the advanced things. So for example, let's say I'm walking into a real estate closing, I'm buying a house, and I want to make sure that things are in order. 40 North Main. And so I just speak it right into my phone, just like that. It pops up, and now I've done a search on properties where the addresses show 40 North Main. And so you can see we can get real creative doing these types of search. The last one, and sort of the one that we set out to try to eliminate fraud and try to find out what was going on, remember the warehouse full of Linda Green and all these different people signing the names? Lawsuits around the country over this. And some county recorders deserve great credit because they have gone page by page, item by item, one at a time to find it. Takes months or even longer. What I'm going to do now is just let's search on Linda Green to see if that appears in any of the notaries, in any of the witness lines. And just that quick, it has searched all the OCR text, and I found documents that contain the name Linda Green that would be worth looking into. Certainly if a property owner wanted to do a search and they found a match on that and their name, that might be just worth looking if they're in a mortgage foreclosure or a mortgage redemption type of process. So that's just a quick overview of some of the power of doing this. And again, it was with the help of Google and Xerox, Macomb County Clerk Carmela Sabaugh, and also at Xerox, I mentioned Mark Nix, but I didn't mention Deb Stedman. Deb Stedman has done a phenomenal job on making this work as well. Now here's some of the challenges that we have, sustainability and cost. Again, thanks to Xerox and also our administrative assistant, Crystal Brenner, in the Macomb County Clerk's office. Crystal and Xerox got together to make it so that the revenue the system generates is paying for the system. And so far, so good. Everything seems to be going well on that. And we want to keep it that way. And so we're looking at how do we expand that and work on that. In addition, we're looking at expanding the intuitive search. So right now you can search on library page, you type the word page number in or book and it pops up, you type the year. But we want to do even more of those types of things, as well as mobile capabilities. We're looking at expanding voice search. Even one day we see the possibility of using technology such as Google Glass. You could walk into your real estate closing wearing your special Google glasses, look at your real estate packet on the table, and a message would pop up right on your window if somebody recorded a last-minute lien or last-minute encumbrance, or find out for sure that the mortgage was discharged, just so that you can proceed with the closing. And we want to repeat this success with other programs. We've got some exciting programs in the works with our court administrator, Jennifer Phillips, and some other things in the court area, but we're not ready to make any announcements or anything like that soon. Those are projects that are in the works. So that's the overview of the super index. And James, what I'd like to do, if it's okay, is take some questions as well as Bert and see where we can go from there.
Absolutely, and more than okay. Lots of questions coming in. Twitter hashtag IFTN13, jumping right on over to Brett, asking about the kind of billing for these documents. Was that process, did you come to that price based on just wanting to cover the cost of the project? Are digital copies the same price as paper copies? How did you all kind of go about figuring out the pricing for this?
That's a great question, Brett, and that's one that we worked on for quite a while. In the end, we ended up doing it the way that we had been doing it. And so we had our records online before. We charged $6 per document, and that's what we decided to do when we rolled out this system. And on this particular system, on the Macomb County Clerk Register of Deeds homepage, we give you a choice to use the old legacy system, or you can use the new super index search, and we just priced it so that they were both the same. Both of those prices are designed to cover the cost of the service, so we're a fee-for-service office. Just so you know, it's $6 per document. If you get 2 documents while you're online at the same time, it's just $1 extra per extra document. So if you bought 3 documents, that would be $8, and that would be similar to the way our old system worked. One difference, and you can do this how you want, but the way we decided to, on our old system, we actually charge you for a search and also for the document. Bottom line, to get a document, though, was $1 for the search, $5 for the document, $6 for the whole thing on the old one. On the new one, we decided to just make it a little easier, not charge for the search, but charge for the document. So $6 for a document as well. So that's how we do it in Macomb County, Michigan.
All right, cool, Todd. Thanks for that. Couple questions, Bert. Actually, want to get you to comment on here. First off, a couple issues coming out of some folks that have been joining us from Colorado today, wondering if this is something that could be extended to track mineral rights and that type of land issue.
Absolutely, and depending on the state you're in, where mineral rights are recorded. For example, in Texas, mineral rights, oil and gas rights, leases, and so forth are all recorded in the county clerk's office and are part of the database of land records. So those records would be available through the Google search, and it's really any type of documents. And I think to use what we've done on the super index and how that would apply to mineral rights and make that easier is that the Google search engine allows you to narrow down the search of what you're looking for more specifically to mineral rights in a certain region or on a certain street or from a certain time frame, and allows you to get more specific in terms of what exactly you're looking for, so you don't have to go through so many documents to find what you are. But absolutely be a great application.
A lot of folks are thinking about what could they use it for. Marty, thinking about the criminal court records. Have you done anything, Bert, in that realm yet there at Xerox?
We're looking at a couple projects right now that involve the courts, and absolutely, it's a fantastic application for this. For the solution, and in part because the courts historically have less indexed information. So a court case could be filed under a case number, hopefully attorneys' names, dates, judgments, different things. But if you don't have all that information at your fingertips, using this Xerox GSA solution will allow you to search more specifically for what you want. The other part of this is there's multiple options on how this could be hosted. The example that Todd showed was for the public to search documents. In terms of courts, those could be public or private, depending on the type of the record and state laws. And this solution can be hosted in multiple ways where only county employees or judges may have access to certain documents.
Todd, let me jump over to you. The search appliance, Greg asking about this. We see, and there's a picture of it, I think, on the screen right now. We can bring that up. 1 appliance, 15 appliances. Give us a little, kind of tech lowdown. What's it look like in your environment? What impact, what footprint?
Yeah, it's actually in Bert's environment. We're lucky to do that, but it basically looks like a large block of cheese and doesn't take up much room at all. And there's different types of appliances with different capacities. which is how Xerox is able to use their experience so that it's priced in a way that the revenue generated from the system actually pays for itself, because they're able to get economies of scale where smaller counties wouldn't necessarily have to purchase their own search appliance, which can be quite expensive. They're able to spread that out and do more.
Any comments on that, Bert, in terms of those
Todd,
options?
yeah, absolutely. Todd was absolutely correct. We host the hardware in our data center, and it does a couple things. One, we'll be able to scale and expand the capacity of the Google search appliance as new installations come on board. The other thing is the data and the images that are being searched by the public in this case is a replication of the data and images that sit live on Macomb's public recording system. So it provides an extra layer of security. The public is not accessing the official records, it's accessing a replicated database and a replicated image repository of records. So just another layer of security on that as well.
And one quick note on the data center, real quickly. We had a fire recently at our county that took out much of our IT department's infrastructure for a few weeks. And thanks to the security of the Xerox data center and the ability to withstand trauma of our Google Apps for Government service, we never lost our Google Apps for Government service at all through our cell phones and other non-county networks. And Xerox had people on site for our land record system the very next day. There was no data loss whatsoever, and we were actually using Chromebooks to access the super index for customers the day after the fire.
It's pretty impressive there. Hey, really appreciate, Todd, the whole kind of peeling things back for us, the demo and going through the process you went through up there. Bert, appreciate you being on board here as well. These guys are going to continue the conversation. Scheduled chat is going to kick off, already has. These guys will join in just a few moments over in the networking lounge, so look for that. A couple other scheduled chats going on at this time too, so browse through there. Also over on Twitter, saw a couple folks just saying that over at the Google booth, lots of other helpful case studies that they've been downloading, and so if you haven't gone over to Google's booth, make sure you check that out. Keep the hashtag active. IFTN13 is what we're using out there on Twitter. That's going to wrap it up for this Hangout session. The next two sessions, we're going to be talking a lot more about maps and Google Earth. Geospatial type ideas are going to come front and center here in the Hangout, so I hope you'll join us in about a half hour for that next session. In the meantime, though, enjoy the networking lounge, and we'll talk to you all real soon.